When when this whole COVID thing broke out, we were, of course, not allowed to come and see him. So they asked him, a very, very social guy, to go sit in his room with a mask on. He was not allowed to come out. He was not allowed to sing to people. He was not allowed to socialize, eat with people. He was locked in his room because they were afraid people would get COVID. So what that means is we were not allowed to go in and see him. During that time, he developed a very bad UTI, a urinary tract infection, which I would have caught because I could tell just by looking at him when he had a UTI. And that UTI went unattended for a couple of weeks. Once we figured out the UTI was there, it was really too late. He had fallen into a deep depression. He ended up going to a psychiatric ward where he fell even further into depression. He knew that this COVID thing was not going to go away. He lost his will to live. And after, a lot of time in a nursing home that happened subsequently after the hospital, he came back to Sunrise, but at that point he was too weak. He stopped eating. He stopped drinking. If you actually watch the video that I shared with you from Kirk Cameron, this is exactly what happens to old people when they're cut off. So he didn't die of COVID, but he was a victim of COVID. Of course, we could have cared for him here at the house. It just wasn't feasible since my wife and I are both involved in running our business, and we're not at home. So we obviously lamented and prayed about that quite a bit, but it wasn't going to be a feasible thing. It would have been extremely expensive, and the bottom line is we couldn't care for him like they could in either the hospital or in senior living. So it was obvious that the best choice was for him to be where he was. It was just that the government was not allowing family to enter, which, is obviously not correct. It's not right. It's unlawful, and it should never have happened.
Hi, you guys. It's a beautiful Sunday. It's the last Sunday in 2020. And after going to church today, I just got to thinking, I was reading some of the comments here on social media, and it really is upsetting to me to read the comments from people who are saying such evil, truly nasty, terrible things to me and about my family. And it's really shocking that people have come to this. If you know anything about me, just my past, my life, my priorities, what I'm about, you know that I love people and I care about people. I would never, ever do anything to intentionally harm anyone. This COVID virus thing has been a complete disaster on our country and around the world. And I have elderly grandparents. I have a 97-year-old grandmother who I love dearly. And many of you have elderly, sick relatives, children, people who are in danger of getting very sick and maybe even dying from this virus. I care about them and about you, and I pray for you and for them. So you say, well, then why did you do these Christmas caroling things? So many doctors have been trying to say this for so long, and they've been censored. And you can just look this stuff up. There is a public health danger that is far worse to the vast majority of the population than the coronavirus. And what I mean by that is the people who have died because of the lockdown requirements, they have sunk into depression, anxiety, suicide rates are through the roof, drug abuse, alcohol abuse. People who are abused have been quarantined with their abusers. People have failed to go to the hospital because they've been told not to go unless it's an emergency. So they've foregone cancer screenings. They've foregone detection for heart attacks. They've had chest pains, but they don't want to go to the hospital, and they're afraid they're going to catch the virus that they have been told is so deadly, it's likely going to kill them. If you look at the science, if you read the reports, look at the raw data on the CDC website and the others. like Harvard University, like Oxford University. You listen to the epidemiologists and the biostatisticians, and they will tell you that globally, for the vast majority of the population, you have a 99.9% chance of full recovery if you catch the coronavirus, and that those who are in the most danger are those who are elderly and unhealthy. And for them, we need to pray. And for them, we need to help protect them and educate them so that they stay safe. But the financial, emotional, psychological, and physical harm that's being perpetrated on the vast majority of the population is unconscionable. And that's why Dr. Birx herself, the doctor on the news with the pretty scarves who's always with Dr. Fauci and was with the president early on in the pandemic news conferences, she herself violated the restrictions for COVID-19 and went to visit her elderly parents, who she said was so depressed and so isolated that they had stopped eating and drinking. My goodness, who wouldn't go visit them? Would you? Would you go visit your parents? Some of you have not, because you have been trying to comply with the restrictions that she helped to write, and you're frustrated, and you're calling out her hypocrisy. I understand that. I just talked to a good friend who said, my grandmother is alone and depressed, and she says she just wants to die because she's been told she can't see her kids or her grandkids. She has to stay locked in alone in her house, and she has nothing else to live for. How tragic and cruel is that? So when I'm out Christmas caroling, I'm not trying to endanger people. I'm outside under the stars giving people hope, hoping that they catch a sense of God's goodness and his faithfulness, and that they will be able to use common sense and good judgment just like Dr. Birx, and know how to take care of and to nurture and to come alongside in a spirit of compassion with their loved ones. Remember, the vast majority has over a 99% full recovery rate if you catch the virus, and that those who are most vulnerable are the ones who we should be protecting. As far as the masks go, my goodness, if you really want to get into it, do a study on the masks. Doctor after doctor after doctor, study after study after clinical trial have demonstrated for decades. If you read the experts, they're saying that the size of a virus particle is less than 1/1000th of the width of a human hair. And it goes right through the holes in a cloth or paper mask. It's like trying to stop a shotgun blast by holding up a chain link fence. You say, well, it restrains some of the transmission. How much? 20%, 30%, 40%? The most generous numbers are at 40%. But what's 60% of a shotgun blast still going to do to you? A lot of damage. And so I think the masks are giving people a false sense of security, and they're getting even closer to one another because of the masks. I think you're going to get virus particles going right through those masks. The doctors are saying get some exercise, eat well, have vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, and use wisdom. And we're going to get through this virus. But talk to your mom, your elderly parents. Talk to your relatives who are struggling with this, and ask them how they want to take care of their health, rather than draconian lockdown measures that imprison them in a sterile room where they can't see their children and grandchildren and suffer from depression, isolation, and suicidal thoughts. I think we can do better than that. And I think the Great Barrington Declaration, I've mentioned it many times, is a guideline that everyone should read. And then let's open up the restrictions on our businesses and our schools and our churches, and give people the same freedom that Dr. Birx herself insisted on having when she visited her parents, so that we can make good judgment decisions, take care of our loved ones without being arrested, without being shamed, and without losing our business license. I hope that answers some of your questions. It makes me feel good to at least get this out there so that you can listen and hear. God bless you this last Sunday of 2020. And I am eagerly anticipating the good things that God will bring to us in 2021. Stay strong, stay faithful. And as we go through all of this together, I believe that the good and the right and the true is going to rise to the top.